The new house smelled faintly of pine cleaner, the scent lingering in corners and behind doors, as though the previous occupants had tried to scrub away their lives. I had spent the first week unpacking boxes, carefully arranging furniture, pretending that this move was just another transition, another set of walls to live inside. But even as I stacked books on the shelves and hung pictures, a small, restless part of me lingered in unease. It was a feeling I couldn't name, a whisper that this house had not yet revealed all its secrets. The call came late in the afternoon, just as sunlight slanted across the living room windows. I had been stacking dishes, lost in the monotony of domesticity, when the ringtone startled me. The number was unfamiliar, and the voice on the other end carried an odd mixture of urgency and guilt. I forgot to disconnect the camera in the living room. The previous owner said, voice tight. It was uploading to the cloud. I only noticed it now by accident. I saw what your wife, your mother-in-law, and your sister-in-law were doing while you were at work. Don't tell your wife. Come alone. I didn't respond at first. The sentence hovered, absurd and obscene, in the air between us. My hands clenched around the phone. I felt a sudden contraction of reality, the sense that the house I had moved into, the space I thought private, had been intruded upon in ways I could not undo. I hung up before the owner could add anything else. Silence filled the house, heavy and suffocating. I moved from room to room, each step deliberate, touching surfaces as if confirming their solidity. The kitchen, the living room, the bedrooms, they were mine, yet the invisible presence of someone else's eyes made me feel exposed, a witness trapped in my own life. For hours, I debated what to do. Should I confront my wife? Should I call the police? Should I erase the cloud footage, assuming I could access it? Each option carried consequences that twisted in my stomach. Telling her could fracture our family, remaining silent felt like complicity. My thoughts oscillated, a pendulum of fear and moral reasoning. I replayed the previous week, each interaction with my family now refracted through suspicion. Every laugh, every casual remark took on a different hue. I found myself observing them differently. The way my wife arranged the living room cushions, the way my mother-in-law lingered in corners, the way my sister-in-law brushed past me in the hallway, they all became tiny puzzles to decipher. I imagined motives where none existed, emotions hidden behind polite smiles. The house, once a canvas for domestic comfort, transformed into a theater of surveillance in my mind. The breaking point came quietly. I returned from work one evening to find my wife laughing at a story she had just heard, her face luminous in the soft lamplight. I felt a stab of envy at her ignorance, and yet I could not join in the laughter. The knowledge I carried made the familiar strange, intimate moments tainted with an invisible stain. A week passed in this suspended state. I maintained routines, answered questions, smiled when necessary, but the weight of the call never left me. Each night, I lay awake, listening for sounds that weren't there, imagining cameras hidden in corners, eyes watching, recording, judging. The psychological tension became physical, shoulders tight, stomach knotted, mind ceaselessly processing. Then, authority appeared in the form of a neighbor, an off-duty officer who had noticed the moving trucks and introduced himself with friendly vigilance. In a quiet, matter-of-fact way, he mentioned local security laws, the implications of unauthorized surveillance, and the options I could pursue without dramatics. The conversation was brief, precise, but it shifted the entire landscape of control. For the first time, I realized that power did not need to be asserted with anger or confrontation. It could be claimed through careful, professional channels. I chose restraint. I did not confront my wife with the call. I did not threaten or accuse. Instead, I secured my home, ensured devices were disconnected, and set boundaries that were silent but firm. The previous owner's error remained an uncomfortable secret, a moral burden I carried alone. But in doing so, I reclaimed something of myself. The power had shifted subtly, yet unmistakably the house was mine, and my sense of autonomy was quietly restored. Still, trust had been fractured. Even without knowledge of the specifics, the awareness that our private space had been violated lingered. I noticed it in glances exchanged between family members, in moments of hesitation, in the subtle ways people behaved when they thought they were unobserved. The dynamic had changed. Life continued, but differently, more careful, more measured, more reflective. The breach was invisible yet tangible, a silent marker in our shared history. I learned that some victories do not announce themselves. They do not demand celebration or vindication. Sometimes, they manifest as stillness, as the quiet realignment of boundaries, as the slow reclamation of self amidst circumstances beyond your control. The house remained a home, but one tempered by the lessons of exposure, restraint, and moral vigilance. And so, days passed. I moved through rooms, unpacking boxes, arranging furniture, maintaining a semblance of normalcy. The call echoed in my mind only occasionally, a reminder of fragility, of trust betrayed, of the invisible consequences that linger long after the visible drama has ended. I was careful, patient, observant, and silent, qualities I had never needed to exercise so deliberately. In the end, the house belonged to me. The family continued its rhythms, largely unaware, protected from a truth that might have upended everything. And I, too, continued, carrying the weight of knowledge and the quiet authority it conferred. Trust had collapsed, but life went on, and in that quiet, measured continuation, I found a strange, subdued victory, a restoration not of innocence, but of control, ethical and restrained.